guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name's Brittany, I'm 20 years old, and I have a 5-month-old baby boy. Here on my channel, I film a bunch of mommy videos, lifestyle videos, a bunch of videos about young parenthood, because like I said, I am 20 years old. I got pregnant when I was 19. So today I'm going to be filming my breastfeeding 101 and everything about breastfeeding and my whole breastfeeding journey. I'm gonna try and make this as short as possible, but also I want it to be very thorough and educate y'all. I did get a bunch of DMs on Instagram of y'all wanting me to film this video, so I wrote down a bunch of topics that I wanted to hit, but I have a lot written down on this piece of paper, so I might end up doing a part 2 to this video. It just depends how much I get through and the time that I have right now, because Bennett's taking a nap. So to start off, I wanted to kind of tell y'all my journey in breastfeeding. Then I want to get into all of the essentials that I love and everything that I think you need for breastfeeding. So when I was pregnant, I knew that I wanted to breastfeed. I knew that it didn't work out for some women, but I knew that I wanted to try really hard to make it work for me, just because honestly, I knew that it helped you lose your baby weight faster. And I heard that the bond breastfeeding was just amazing, and it is. Like, I love breastfeeding. So when my son was born and we were in the delivery room still, I did try and get him to latch, and he did latch on when we were in the delivery room. When we were in the hospital, the nurses were helping me get him to latch. My mom was helping me. If y'all didn't know, my mom was a postpartum nurse for about 10 years, and now she's a school nurse. So my mom was helping me a bunch, and I finally got the hang of it. Bennett was eating about every 3 or 4 hours, I think, or 2 to 3 maybe. I don't remember exactly, but I was tracking how much he was eating. I already had milk when I was in the hospital. So when I was in my 3rd trimester, I already started leaking and producing colostrum, which is the milk that you get before your real milk comes in. So in the hospital, I did start using a nipple shield because it helped me. It was a lot easier for him to latch with the nipple shield on, and I eventually grew out of the nipple shield. They say the nipple shield's not supposed to be a permanent thing. It's just supposed to help the baby in the beginning, and it did help us in that sense. I still have a nipple shield. I don't know why I still have one. I haven't used it since he was a week old, but this is what it looks like. And it has holes in it. It's basically like a nipple to a bottle, but you put it on your boob, obviously. It helped us a lot. I know there are some women that don't need to use one of these, but I know most people that I talked to did end up using one, and it helped tremendously. Bennett was pretty good at latching in the beginning. I didn't have a lot of problems with him latching. I would say my biggest struggle breastfeeding was him falling asleep while I was nursing him. It took me a lot of patience and a lot of time to get him to cooperate and to actually eat, because when you're cradling them, especially breastfeeding them, they feel secure and safe, so they go to sleep. And especially newborns, they're really tired in the beginning. So that was really hard for me. It was probably the biggest challenge, honestly, was keeping Bennett awake while I was trying to feed him. So the tips that I have for y'all on keeping your baby awake, if y'all are struggling with that, is I would always change his diaper between sides. So I would start him out, say, on the left side, and then when he was done on the left side, I would change his diaper to kind of wake him up, and then I would put him on the other side. That helped me a little bit. Also, I tried not to swaddle Bennett when he was eating, because I found that swaddling him just made him even more cozy, and he'd end up falling asleep a lot faster when he was swaddled. And another thing that I had to do was I had to completely undress him so he would be more alert and stimulated. Those are the 3 best tips that I have that worked for me, and the 3 things that I tried to help keep my son awake while I was feeding him, to make sure he was eating on both sides. So like I said, if you're going through this stage right now with your newborn and it's pushing you to your limits, just know that there is an end to that, and they're not always going to be falling asleep during feedings, and they get better, they get the hang of it. Newborns are really sleepy, and eating is really hard work for them in the beginning. So it takes some patience and time getting the hang of it. It's for them and for you as a new mom. So the other thing that I struggled with a lot in the beginning of my whole breastfeeding journey was my son not eating on both sides every feeding. So there were some times where he would not wake up at all, and there was nothing I could do to get him to eat on both sides. He would just be so sleepy, and he would not want to latch on both sides. So I did contact a lactation consultant, and she told me that if he wasn't wanting to eat on both sides, it was okay, but I was more worried about my supply dropping. So what I did was I would pump on the other side. And I would not pump a lot. I would just pump a little bit to relieve the pressure, because especially in the beginning when you're breastfeeding, you become really engorged when your milk comes in, and it's very painful. It's very uncomfortable. When my milk came in, I had an oversupply of milk, so it was even more uncomfortable for me being engorged. So I had to pump. But the thing is, with pumping and breastfeeding, it's supply and demand. So when you're breastfeeding or you're pumping, you're triggering your body to produce more. You're telling your body to produce more, pretty much. So what I did was I took a handheld pump. I did not use my electric pump because I didn't want to pump too much out and tell my body, hey, I need to keep producing more. So I used this pump, and it's a Manila pump. And it's a manual pump. I know it's really annoying, it's no fun, but it helped me to just pump out the little bit that I needed to pump out to relieve the pressure. And that's how I got through the whole engorgement phase and the phase of him not eating on both sides. I would say about a month or 2 months in, we both had the hang of breastfeeding, and it was just like easy. So another factor that goes into breastfeeding is positioning. There are a couple different positions that I tried, and I know there's a lot more out there. This goes along with your newborn falling asleep while you're feeding them too, because like I said in the beginning, when you're cradling your baby, they feel really secure and safe, so it just causes them to go to sleep a lot faster. So there is a football hold, and I hated this. It was very uncomfortable for me, but I had to do it because it helped Bennett stay awake longer. There are a few websites that I looked at online when I was in the beginning stages of breastfeeding, trying to get advice from other moms. I went on kellymoms.com, and I was on Baby Center, and there were a lot of moms on there that were going through the same thing that I was going through, and it helped me get through it. Another thing that plays a role into nursing and breastfeeding is your baby's latch. So if your baby doesn't have a good latch, it's not going to feel good, and your baby's not going to get the proper amount of milk that your baby needs. Like I said in the beginning, Bennett didn't latch as well the first week after he was born, so we did use the nipple shield. That helped us a lot. I know there are some people that still have problems after using the nipple shield with latching, and their babies don't latch correctly, so I recommend contacting a lactation consultant, because I'm definitely not one. I'm just a mom who has breastfed exclusively for 5 months, so I know what works for me, and I understand that what works for me isn't going to work for everyone. So I highly, highly, highly recommend finding a lactation consultant in your area. A lot of them will make house calls, so they'll come to your house and help you. Just make sure that your baby has a proper latch, and it'll make breastfeeding so much more comfortable and better for you and your baby. Another thing that helped me in the very beginning stages of nursing was the boppy pillows. So I mentioned this before in my baby must-haves video. I'll link it in the description box below, and I'll pop it up on the screen somewhere. It just made it a lot more comfortable and easy for us in the beginning. So like I said, I have been exclusively breastfeeding for 5 months now, and I love, love, love breastfeeding. It provides such an amazing bond between me and my son. I love it. It's also very convenient too, just not having to worry about bottles and making a bottle, buying formula. Formula is very expensive. Breastfeeding also helps your uterus contract down to its normal size a lot quicker, and it does help you lose weight a lot faster. I did lose all my baby weight and a little more within 1 week postpartum. I give all the props to breastfeeding with that, honestly. So there are a lot of pros and cons to breastfeeding. It's definitely very time consuming, but it's so worth it in the end. So just try to be patient. I do realize that some moms just can't get the hang of it, and it's just not for everybody. So I'm not sitting here saying that breast is best, because I know that there are a lot of moms that say that. I do not agree with that. I just believe that fed is best. As long as your baby's eating and is growing and is healthy, that's all that matters. Okay, getting into all of my breastfeeding essentials and everything that I used and still use to this day that helps me breastfeed and nurse and pump. So my pumping system that I have is the Medela InStyle Advanced. It's very small, it's easy to travel with. This is it. Like, this is the whole system that you need. It comes with 2 bottles, and it comes with, I think, 2 different size breast shields. So that's the pump that I have. I love it. I read really good reviews on it when I was searching for a breast pump that I wanted, so that's why I ended up going with that one. The next thing that I used is lanolin cream. So in the beginning of breastfeeding, all of the fun things come out. So your nipples can crack and bleed and get really chapped and dry, and it's very, very painful. For me, it only happened once, thank God. So I didn't have to use lanolin more than that one time. Like I said in the beginning, when your milk comes in, you do get very engorged. So when you're feeding or when you're in between feedings, you may leak, and it's no fun. I would end up leaking all over my shirts. So I got nursing pads. If you're planning on breastfeeding, I recommend getting nursing pads like right away. Get them on your baby registry, put them in your hospital bag. I don't use them as much as I did in the beginning just because my body is pretty used to nursing now and my milk supply is regulated, so I'm not dealing with that as much now. But when I do go out, I definitely wear them because I don't want to worry about leaking through clothes, because it has happened before. So the ones that I use are by Lancino. And they're just come in a huge box like this. They have different levels of absorbency too, and they are disposable. So they're very convenient. I always have some in the diaper bag. So when you're breastfeeding, there are chances of you getting mastitis or clogged milk ducts, and let me tell you, they are not fun. I ended up getting a clogged milk duct when we were traveling. When you get a clogged milk duct, you have to try to massage it out or unclog it, obviously, because if it's staying clogged, it can become infected, which leads to mastitis, which nobody wants. So I ended up looking on Amazon. I found these Lancino Soothie gel pads on Amazon, I believe what they're called. This is what it looks like. So you can put it in the freezer and you can put it in the microwave. I always put it in the microwave because I felt like the warmth helped unclog the duct a lot better. If you have a clogged milk duct, or if you're just very sore in the beginning, I wish I would have found these a lot sooner than I did. I literally just found these like a month ago, and let me tell you, these would have helped me a lot in the beginning stages of breastfeeding. So I highly, highly recommend adding them to your baby registry if you're pregnant, or grabbing them if you're breastfeeding, because it helps tremendously. Another thing, if you plan on nursing, you need nursing bras. So the ones that I got, I found at Target. I will link them down below also if I can find them. So if you have a nursing bra, it's a lot more convenient and it's a lot easier to breastfeed, obviously, because all you have to do is just unhook it and there you go. You don't have to worry about taking your whole bra off. So I just want to touch on your whole milk supply a little bit. If you're struggling with your milk dropping or your supply not being enough for your little one, make sure you're drinking a lot of water. Because if you're not drinking a lot of water and you're not hydrated, then your body's not gonna have enough nutrients to produce milk for your baby. So you wanna make sure that you're drinking a lot of water. So around, I'd say 3 months postpartum, I experienced a little dip in my milk supply and I freaked out because I did not want my milk supply to be completely gone. So I looked up a lot of ways to help increase that. And I did try the lactation cookies. Those didn't help for me, honestly. I didn't see any dramatic change with that. I heard about the essential oil fennel helping. So like I said before in previous videos and all over my Instagram, I am into Young Living and I'm into essential oils. What I do with the fennel is I get capsules and I mix the fennel with coconut oil and I take 2 capsules a day, and it helps maintain my milk supply a lot. So if you're into oils or natural ways to increase your milk supply, definitely check into fennel because it helped me and I still use it to this day. Like I said, I've exclusively breastfed him and he's 5 months old now. He has had a bottle a few times, and the bottle that I use is the Tomo ones. So these are what they look like. And I researched a lot in the beginning with bottles that were best with transitioning during breastfeeding. And this one is the one that came up, and it's supposed to be really easy for your baby to transition back and forth between your breastfeeding and bottle feeding. So if you're searching for a good bottle whether you're breastfeeding or not. I recommend the Comotomo ones. I've always loved them. So that's everything that I found out that helped me while I was learning how to breastfeed and still helps me to this day. I highly recommend all the products that I mentioned in this video. If you are a new mom or if you're still pregnant and you're about to have your baby and you're wanting to try breastfeeding, I highly recommend checking out the links that I link in the description box. If I didn't cover something in this video that you would like me to talk about or answer, go ahead and leave them in the comments below, or you can DM me on Instagram. If y'all want me to do a video all about pumping and everything that I recommend while you're pumping, I can definitely do that. Just leave me a comment down below if you want me to do that. If you're pregnant and if you're a new mom and you're planning on breastfeeding, or you're going through still learning how to breastfeed, hang in there because it takes a lot of patience and time, but your baby and you will definitely get the hang of it. So I hope this video helped y'all, and if it did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. And good luck to all of those new mamas out there that are trying to breastfeed or they're planning on breastfeeding. It's definitely worth the patience. So yeah, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so y'all can see more of my future uploads. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.